bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game.
Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Yeah, man. This is where I say, well. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Today's Tuesday, September 19th, 262 days into the new year, just 103 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, The Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing on this Tuesday? All right. Tonight, very special guests, Damon T. Barry. I said that plural. Director of The Knowledge of the Forever Time. He is back with us. The film series is complete. Invitation number 8 is out. I'm assuming that most of you, if not all of you, did your homework and watched Invitation number 8 last night, maybe today, warming up for the show. We're going to talk about that, the completion of the film series. Does he have another one in him, right? Not another film, another series. Can he pull off, another, yes, I am, another series of 8, right? So there you go. Okay. Tomorrow night, Sharon Rose is with us for an Egypt to India Divine Feminine History lesson. Thursday is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. This weekend, I will be over at Coast to Coast AM, and my guests are, Friday night, which is Open Lines, bringing over Dane Wigington to talk about this strange weather. And when we had Dane on the show a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? A couple of weeks ago, during Irma, and when everything was going down, that was crazy enough. And the warning signs were there. Had no idea that this crazy weather and the earthquakes and everything that we were going through a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to say this over the last month, is now continuing. So I've got Dane on Friday night, and then, of course, Open Lines. And then I'm not going to say who my guest is because I'm going to allow Coast to announce this. But Saturday is September 23rd, supposed to be the end of the world. So I am doing an end of the world special event. That's what I'm going to go. Some chilled vodka in the studio. We're going to party. But that's what I'll be doing Saturday night. I have to, right? I'm hosting Coast to Coast. So Rita says last night, her and our daughter, Deanna, they're talking. And Deanna goes, so you're hosting Coast to Coast? It's the end of the world. And Rita goes, we got our bug out boxes. Well, he can come find us. We'll split. I was like, what about it? No, we're good. We're good. I was like, wow. She goes, we'll take, I don't want to say what kind of car. But anyway, we're going to take the fast one and outrun Nibiru with the bug out boxes. So there you go. I got to go chase down my family after Coast to Coast so I can survive. So there you go. That's the week. Kind of crazy, huh? Going to be on Coast to Coast during the end of the world. I think I did this last year, too. There's another end of the world event. Oh, I'll get to that in just a minute, by the way. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough. Facebook, YouTube. Click on those little subscribe and like and friend buttons over on the website and follow, like, and subscribe us, okay? The Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. That's hashtag F, the number 2, and B on Twitter. Where am I? Any questions or comments during the show tonight? Hashtag F2BQ. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We have over 700 archive shows. I think the magical number is like 722. Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 a month. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and click on the podcast banner. Very simple. Follow the instructions. Or you can become a Fade or Not. Go to the membership area on the website. Help support the show. Everything helps support the show. 4 shows like tonight with Damon T. Barry. Last night, Dale Harder. Amazing show, right? That's how you do it. Support the show any way that you can. It all helps. Every little bit helps. And you can become a member, get the autographed hats and T-shirts and all of that. And also with all of our sponsors like Life Change Tea, GetTheT.com. You're always going to get free shipping as a Fade or Not, right? Okay, there you go. The promo code there is Fader, Fader. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. F2B blend is the promo code there. New Pharma, promo code there is F2B. Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls. Sacred Skulls, all you have to do is mention my name, right, when you order. And when you do that, 15% off. All you got to do is mention Jimmy. It's that simple, right? Fade to Black. Studio Dome speakers. All of our sponsors are the best, and they are family here just like you. All right, let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Lita Ford is 59. The Runaways. Man. Lita Ford. What was that song that she did with Ozzy? Do you guys remember that song she did with Ozzy? Who? Let's see who can get that first. What was that? If I Close My Eyes Forever. What was that? Anyway, Lita Ford today is 59. Jeremy Irons today is 69. Twiggy is 69. And I think of Twiggy, I think of 2 things. First, I go Club Paradise. She was great in Club Paradise. But the Blues Brothers, most people don't remember that. All right? So there you go. All right. Where am I? Lori McDonald today is 12, and she's out there chasing elephants. And Fade or Not, Susie Q today is 29. All right. Happy birthday, everybody. That's a great poster, by the way. The ECETI poster is absolutely incredible. I am going to retweet this now. I just saw it for the first time right before the show. I wanted to be surprised like everybody else. Happy birthday there, Susie Q. That is quite the birthday present right there. Look at that. That is... Some say that is some artistic freedom, right? No, I would say that's pretty much ECETI. That's exactly what's going down at ECETI. Happy birthday, Susie. Okay. Our dead guy's birthday today is Adam West. 1928 to 2017, died at the age of 88. And, of course, he was the original and the only Batman from 1966 to 1968. I think that was on ABC. West died here in Los Angeles, California. I want to say last month. Yeah, last month. June 9th, 2017, 2 months ago, following a brief battle with leukemia. But what was really cool, on June 15th, a week later, the city of Los Angeles projected the bat signal on City Hall in downtown. Happy birthday, Adam West. All right. On this day in history, OTD, 1995, the Washington Post publishes a 35,000-word manifesto written by the Unabomber, who since the late 1970s had eluded authorities while carrying out a series of bombings across the United States, killing 3 people and injuring another 23. Now, that was, when that manifesto happened in 1995, that was, and I know exactly where I was when it went down. The first body cavity search, the craziness that happened at airports, and it happened to me in Sacramento. I was flying somewhere, but I was in Sacramento, and it was the first time a TSA came in and literally told me to open up all of my stuff, and went through everything: my underwear, my dirty socks, and my laptop. You know, turn on your laptop. That was the first, and that was all because of the Unabomber. It wasn't September 11th. It wasn't 9/11. No, it wasn't any of that. It was all because TSA, everything that went down, the changes in society happened because of the Unabomber. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I went through it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. 1995. Fader fact. The deadliest James Bond, think about this for a second, was Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan killed an average of 33.8 people per movie. That is a Fader fact. Tonight, very special guest Damon T. Barry is here. Tomorrow night, Sharon Rose is with us. I can't wait. History lesson. Thursday night's another Fader night with John Rappaport. This weekend, I'm over at Coast to Coast. Now, September 23rd, a few years ago, a NASA senior space scientist, David Morrison, debunked an apocalyptic claim as a hoax. And he had said that there's no such thing as a planet Nibiru, right? He said it's not a brown dwarf star surrounded by planets, as parts of that particular prophecy had claimed. No, it's not on a collision course with Earth. And, you know, and he said everybody needs to pretty much get over it, right? Nibiru. But here we are. It's gone viral. Now, I'm talking about, we've had a lot of prophecies in the past, but I can't remember a prophecy that is doing what it's doing now. Every mainstream outlet, and I'm talking about, you can go in any direction. And, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to name them. That's a waste of time. But everybody is covering this Saturday, September 23rd. And it's a precise date. And there's an astronomical event that is going down right now on September 23rd, and I get all of that. But this is going to lead to Earth's destruction. The guy that made this video that put everything together, well, he was part of it, I should say, but the prophecy is his. His name is David Mead, and he says in 4 days it's over, September 23rd, 2017. The video was put out by him and this Christian publication called Unseal. And they put out this 4-minute YouTube video. Now, Rita and I watched it last night, and it comes complete with everything. It's got special effects, and it's got a 7-headed dragon. It's got this doomsday soundtrack. And it's called September 23rd, 2017, You Need to See This. The video that we saw last night, the video, but the version of it on YouTube, I think it was at 3 million views last night. I think it's all over the web. There's no telling how many millions of views it's up to right now, but the one that we saw was 2.99 million views last night. So we have to ask ourselves, why September 23rd, 2017, right? That's the question. Well, his prediction is based on biblical codes. numerical codes. He's focused on the home run of all numbers. Old Faithful, the number 33. He says, and I'm quoting here, Jesus lived for 33 years. His name, Elohim, which is the name of God to the Jews, was mentioned 33 times in the Bible. He says it's a very biblically significant number. He says, I'm talking astronomy, I'm talking the Bible, and I'm merging the two. And on September 23rd, it's 33 days since the August 21st solar eclipse, which he said is the first omen. He points to the book of Revelation, which he says describes the image that will appear in the sky on that day when Nibiru, Planet X, Nibiru, is supposed to rear its ugly head eventually, bringing all of that stuff, fire, brimstone, every type of destruction known to man, right? And I had to back up. Now, this prophecy reminded me of one thing, and I'm going to get to this in a second. It reminded me of what went down, and I want to say it was 2009, 2010, 2011, right in there, 7 years ago, when this guy, this radio dude, was driving like tour buses or motorhomes all around the country, and they showed up here in Los Angeles. And I saw him downtown. I saw him on the west side. You know, I saw him in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard. And they all said, you know, this date, whatever it was, on the side, you know, the end is near, and a website and stuff. And so I'm checking it out. I'm going to my, you know, smart, you know, wow. Dude dumped a lot of money into that. Of course, that day came and went. Well, here we come with September 23rd. I'm going to be on the air over coast to coast. And I had to stop and think about some of these prophecies in the past, the ones that I remember that you may not, but modern times, not, you know, going back, you know, to the year zero. You know, I'm not going back to prophecies from back then, you know, the Middle Ages. I'm not doing that, but the modern ones. So here is a list of things that were predicted, that were famous, that made the mainstream, and pretty much nothing happened. And I can prove it because I'm talking to you now. So I'm going to go to the first one, and it's a crazy date. September 11th, 1988 was the date. Now, there were three dates that were predicted in 1988. September 11th, September 13th, and October 3rd by Edgar C. Whisenant. And he predicted in his book, 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Could Be in 1988, that the rapture of the Christian church would occur between September 11th and 13th, 1988. After his September predictions failed to come true, he revised his prediction date to October 3rd. Nothing happened. Then there's 1989, September 30th. The same dude. After all of his 1988 predictions failed to come true, obviously, he revised his prediction date to September 30th, 1989. Then there's 1990, April 23rd, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Yeah, you remember her. She predicted a nuclear war would start on April 23rd in 1990. With the world ending 12 years later. Now, this is what's crazy. Remember, all of her followers were stockpiling food and shelter, supplies and weapons. You remember all of that? Well, she was later diagnosed with epilepsy and Alzheimer's disease. 1991, again, September 9th, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, a Russian-born rabbi, called for the Messiah to come back at the start of the Jewish New Year. And Armageddon would happen. 1991, Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, declared that the Gulf War would lead to and be the War of Armageddon, which is the final war. Oh, he was kind of true. 1992, September 28th, Roland Stewart, The famous Roland Stewart, the born-again Christian, predicted the rapture would take place on September 28th, 1992. Then there's October 28th, 1992. Lee Zhang Rim. Lee, the leader of the damning mission in the church, predicted the rapture would occur on October 28th, 1992. Then there's 1993, David Berg. Berg prediction, the tribulation would start in 1989 and that the second coming would take place in 1993. Then there's May 2nd, 1994. Neil Chase, the Baha'i sect leader, predicted that New York would be destroyed by a nuclear bomb on March 23rd, 1994, and the Battle of Armageddon would take place 40 years later. September 6th through the 29th, 1994, Harold Camping. My man. That's the dude. Harold Camping. We got a few Harold Campings here. Camping predicted the rapture would occur September 6th, 1994. When it failed to occur, he revised that date to September 29th and then October 2nd. Then there's 1995, March 31st, Harold Camping. Camping's fourth predicted date for the end was March 31st. This would be Camping's last prediction until 2011 in the tour buses. 1996, December 17th, Sheldon Neidl. Californian psychic Sheldon Neidl predicted that the world would end on this date with the arrival of 16 million spaceships and a host of angels. March 26, 1997, there you go, the famous Marshall Applewhite, the Heaven's Gate Cult, and the Comet Hale Bopp, and Art Bell. That's right. Art Bell said that Hale Bopp had a UFO in its tail, and maybe it was a guest on a show, or he said it. It doesn't matter. Caused Applewhite to freak out, and the next thing you know, a lot of people, to the number of 38, committed suicide right here in Southern California, San Diego. August 10th, 1997, a guy, the first century bishop of Edessa, predicted this date to be the birth date of the Antichrist and the end of the universe. Well, okay, first century prediction for August 1997 didn't happen. James Ussher, October 23rd, 1997, the 17th century archbishop, predicted this date to be 6,000 years since the creation, and therefore the end of the world. Of course, it didn't happen. March 31st, 1998, Shen Tao, Ho Ming Shen, leader of the Taiwanese God's Salvation Church, or the Shen Tao, the true way, claimed that God would come to Earth in a flying saucer at 10 a.m. on this date. Moreover, God would have the same physical appearance as Shen himself. Shen chose to base his cult in Garland, Texas, because he thought it sounded like God's land. Get it? Garland, Texas. Well, on March 25th, God was to appear on Channel 18 on every TV set in the U.S. Channel 18. And then, of course, I had to include this. Nostradamus, July 1999. The King of Terror, Quatrain, 1999. In 7 months, was it? July 1999, nothing happened. Then we have the amazing Criswell. Now, the amazing Criswell, Plan 9 from outer space, right? You remember. Predicted the end of the world would be on August 18th, 1999. It didn't happen. September 11th, 1999. Again, September 11th, 1999, Philip Berg, the dean of the Worldwide Kabbalah Center, stated that on this date, a ball of fire will descend, destroying almost all of mankind, all vegetation, and all forms of life. Now, in 1999, we had Charles Berlitz, the author. We all know Charles. We had, again, Ho Ming Shen. We had James Gordon Lindsay. We had Timothy Dwight IV. We had Nazim al-Haniki, right? All of them predicting the end of the world between 1999 and 2000. But it didn't happen. Then we have, of course, January 1st, 2000. We had so many people listed that prophesied that would be the date that I can't list all of the names here. But then there was also Jerry Falwell, right? Tim LaHaye, Jerry B. Jenkins, all saying, Falwell said, God is pouring out all of his judgment on this day. I think he started crying. April 6, 2000, James Harmston said, the leader of the true and living Church of Jesus Christ of the Saints of the Last Days predicted the second coming. Then we had throughout 2000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different predictions in the year 2000. 2001, May 27th, 2003, October 30th, 2003, September 12th, 2006, April 29th, 2007, 2010, May 11th, 2011, Harold Camping, September 29th, 2011, Harold Camping, October 21st, 2011, August through October 2011, 10 different predictions. May 27, 2012, June 30th, 2012, December 21st, 2012. You know how long that list is. August 23rd, 2013, 2014, April 2015, September 2015. The list goes on and on. It's okay. Everybody is wrong. That's it. When you see the video for September 23rd, there's something that's very interesting. Now, a pregnant woman, seven-headed dragon over in the skies of Jerusalem. Skies are going to open. We're going to see this in the skies, and it's all going to happen. Then it says at the end of the video, I believe, because I've only watched it once, I'm not going to waste my 4 minutes of my life twice. It says at the end, well, the date's kind of various. What? You go and you do this, and then you bust off at the end of the video. Well, it could be pretty much any day. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, the one and only Damon T. Berry. The knowledge of the forever time. Invitations 1 through 8. It's complete. He's our guest tonight on Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and I'll be right back with our guest, Mr. Damon T. Berry. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Easy enough to do. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Just make it good, and then it will filter its way into the studio. And if it's good, I'll read it on the air. Tonight, very special guest Damon T. Barry is with us. And I want to remind everybody that tomorrow night, it's Sharon Rose here. We're going to discuss Egypt to India. We're going to take a history lesson tomorrow night. The Divine Feminine. Thursday night's another Fader night with John Rappaport. And this weekend, I'm over at Coast to Coast AM. So it's a full week of the church stir. Okay? All right? I hope you get your fix. But tonight, it is Damon T. Barry. He's a film director, screenwriter, best known for writing and creating and directing The Knowledge of the Forever Time. It is a film series that completely rewrites the history of everything. It explores and reveals ancient knowledge in a way that no one has ever really done before. And it grabbed me from the first time that I saw Invitation Number 1. And I said, I got to get to know this guy. I have to. And I couldn't wait when we got him on the show last year and then over at Coast. His message is just so profound. He began his professional career as a radio broadcaster and then accepted a position over at the Walt Disney Company, and then he learned how to write scripts and make movies. While visiting the ancient pyramids in Egypt, and we're going to talk about this tonight, he experienced a powerful transformation, and that experience changed his life so much that he came back to the United States and started creating. He created that film series, and it's called the Knowledge of the Forever Time, and it's invitations 1 through 8. 8 has just been completed, and I need to talk about all of that tonight, because once you finish a project that is so big, and we're talking about 8 films, where is he now? And we're going to find out all of that tonight, and I've got to welcome back our good friend, the one and only Damon T. Barry. Damon, good evening, my friend. How are you?
Doing great, Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it.
No, we appreciate it. But I wanted to ask you really quick before we move on. You're in Texas, right?
Yes, Dallas.
Yeah, and were you okay through Harvey? And did you have friends or family? And did everybody get through that okay? And how is Texas doing now?
Everything. I mean, it was, just a lot of rain. That's all we got. I mean, I do have family in Florida, Tampa. All they, complained about was being out of power for about 2.5 days. But other than that, everything went very well for us.
It's pretty nutty what the weather is doing. And we had that earthquake again, a second earthquake in Mexico, right, in like a week or so. Hurricanes on both coasts. I don't know if you know this, but we've got one that is bearing down on Baja, California. So we've got this. What is going on? What do you think? Is this just bad luck?
Well, I'm one of the people who believe in climate change, and it's not the majority of us, but I'm one of the people that believe in climate change because we are literally heating up the Earth, and with Earth changes, with more heat comes Earth changes, water changes, temperature changes, and I believe the science. I think that we are contributing to the destruction of our own planet.
Is there, you're here tonight to talk about your film, but I have to say this, that your research and the way that you have compiled this knowledge now, you're one of the go-to guys, right? You've compiled this knowledge that you have a library in your head now, right? Is there a point of no return? Do you think that we can still fix it? Do we have that ability, or is Mother Nature and this planet over the edge?
According to what science says, we have a window of about 4 to 5 years to change our course. The problem is the one thing about this new version of humanity is we don't like change. We don't like anything that interferes with our daily activities. Majority of the world chooses to believe that climate change isn't true. It's not going to happen. And the reason why we choose to believe that is because if we accept the reality that we're destroying our world and we must change, then it means we have to change our daily lives. We have to change what we like doing. And people don't want to do that. And the weird thing about this, I saw this movie. If you ever see this movie called Tomorrowland,
I love it.
It's a great description of what's happening to us as human beings. We are changing and we don't even know it. We don't understand good as the good guy of the past. We believe the bad guy is now the good guy. In Tomorrowland, in the movie, if you've never seen it, the bad guy of the movie is putting the images of the future of Earth in people's minds, showing them the destruction of the Earth, showing them that what they're doing is going to destroy the Earth. And it is supposed to make people change. But what you find at the end of the movie is he's saying, I'm putting this in your head. I'm showing you your future. I'm showing you your path to death. And all of you eat it up as entertainment. You think it's a great movie. You think it's a great book. You think it's a great something to read or talk about. And the reason that you accept your future annihilation as entertainment is because it's the only future where you don't have to change a single thing you're doing. And the guy that's saying this is actually the bad guy, which is telling you that there's something about our world that has changed. The guy telling you that you have to save the world is the bad guy.
Right.
The one who wants to keep doing things as it is, that's the good guy.
Right. Very interesting take on that.
It's interesting.
Well, and for those that are that haven't heard our previous shows together, let's back up a little bit. Let's do a little Damon T. Berry 101. Let's go back to your radio days and tell me about that and your view of the world as you started to go through the entertainment industry. Why did you get into radio?
Well, believe it or not, I got into radio right after I finished college. And all through college, I was the guy who was, helping with the school paper, the guy that was creating all the different shows for people to come and watch, and the guy who was always involved in extracurricular activities at school. I was that guy. When I graduated college, I went into radio, and the first time that I walked in the door, never done it before, got the job. So radio was great. It taught me to be creative, taught me to think on your feet, and people said that I had a good voice for radio. So I started doing radio. It was a really good career. After that, I would go from market to market. You're in L.A., right?
Yep.
See, that's the big market. That's the one everybody wants to go to. If you're in L.A. or you're in New York, you're the big star. I was only in L.A. and New York through satellite. I used to be on XM Sirius satellite, but the biggest market I made was Dallas, and this is the one that I've made my home. But basically, I would go from different formats of radio. I did country, I did pop, top 40, R&B, hip-hop. I've done all of them. So the one thing that people always liked is I could adapt to any market that I did, and we always came in with really good numbers. It wasn't until I went to Egypt when all of that changed. Once I went to Egypt, everything changed, and I don't do radio anymore. I'm really just working on what I'm working on, and that's about it.
Now, so you're in. Why were you in Egypt? You weren't in Egypt, for Giza. You were working, right?
Yes. When I was in radio in San Antonio, Texas, I did radio, and there was a guy that worked at the U.S. for the U.S. Army, and he used to come through and he'd try to get through his people to understand radio and understand communications. So we give them a tour, and he said, you know what, you ought to try some work with the U.S. military. We could really use you. You got a great voice. So one thing led to another. I started doing commercials for the U.S. Army. U.S. Army commercials went very well. After the U.S. Army commercials, somebody said, why don't you try to work for the government? We can get you in. They got me in. And the job that I had was going all around the country and going all around the world with the U.S. military and the United States government by presenting computer software presentations and capabilities of what the U.S. military can do. And from there, that's how I ended up in Egypt, because I went from, Germany, Italy, France, all over the world, and even Afghanistan and even Iraq. And while I was overseas in Egypt, I just had to see the pyramids. There's something in me said, you got to go see it. And I went and saw it, and that was the day that changed everything for me.
Now, I love this story because I'm going to let you tell it. You went up to the Sphinx. Tell us what happened.
Well, when you go to Egypt, and then I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I violated the rule of the camp where I was. In the camp, because Egypt is still a violent place, you are not allowed to leave the base by yourself. But because I wanted to fly to another city, no one would go with me. So I had to sneak out of the base, got on a plane, flew to Giza, and when I got there, it's a whole nother world, because it was the winter, but it was hotter than anything you can imagine. So it's like 110 in the winter. So I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of overseas where the Arab men, they have these things over their head, it looks like a little linen or cloth, and you say, why are they wearing that? It's hot over there. Amazingly, the sun is so strong over there that once you put that light covering over your head, it drops the temperature in your body about 30 degrees. It's just really cool. But while I'm over there, the guy's got me riding on a camel. He's my guide. He's showing me how to see everything in Egypt. So when I get there, I was just amazed. When you see the pyramid up close instead of on television, it's staggering how massive it really is. And to know that people did this by hand is just mind-boggling. But the pyramid is in the distance. The first thing that I meet is the Sphinx. And he tells me, hey, I'm your driver. Go down here and see the Sphinx. Look at it for a while, and if you're done, we'll go to the pyramid. And I thought, great. So, I get off the horse, whatever we were riding, a donkey or whatever it was. I get off of it. I go over to the Sphinx, and I'm thinking, wow, it's smaller in person than it looks on television. And, of course, there's tourists everywhere. People are walking back and forward. I walk over to the Sphinx, and I look at the stonework, and I marvel at how they made it so perfect in such an ancient day. So I reach out, just want to feel what it feels like to touch it. So when I reached out, I touched the stone just to feel the grains of it, and suddenly it was like power just went off in my body. I just completely went black, and I started falling. And within a second, maybe a second or two, it's like a flicker of light, and you compose yourself right as you're hitting the ground. And then you stand back up, and I stood back up thinking, what the heck was that? What just happened? What is this? What was it? But because I'm a rational, logical person,
right,
my mind told me I'm dehydrated.
Right.
I'm in the hot sun. Maybe I just didn't have enough to drink. And that's how I rationalized it.
That's fine. The same thing happened to me the first time I saw Eddie Van Halen in 1980. And I rationalized it too. Yeah, I rationalized it. But yeah, and so when you go through that, it's so funny. The pragmatic side comes into play. It can't be supernatural. It can't be anything else. Right. And,
exactly.
And how did that go for you?
Well, I believed it. I believed it for probably a day or two, maybe 3 or 4 days, because I just thought I was just dehydrated. And I went on, I saw the pyramids, I got to touch it, I got to look at it, and I didn't think anything else about that moment. But probably 3 days later, I'm looking at these Egyptian books, and I go to the museum, and I look at these artifacts, and I know what that means. I can't read hieroglyphics, but I know what that means.
Right.
Then I look at another, I don't know what that means. I know what this means. I know what this, and everything I saw, I knew what it meant. And so what I do next is I go on the internet and look at some of the studies that some of the people that have deciphered these objects over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at what they said versus what I said. And 90% of the time we were in agreement.
You know what, William?
And I realized.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I just realized for some reason I can read this stuff. And that's what changed me.
William Henry said to me once, privately, I think we've talked about it on the show, but he said, everybody that goes to Egypt will find a temple, a doorway, a location. You don't know what it is, but there will be something that you connect with. And when it happens, you'll know it. It will be a life-changing thing. And he said, because all of us, through our DNA, all of us went through ancient Egypt at one point. We have a past life, we have a connection, we have a thing, and you're walking around and you will have that moment of transformation. And it will be and he said, I go on these tours, Damon. He goes, I go on these tours and I'll have 20 people with me, and we'll be walking through some sacred site, some temple, and eventually everybody in the tour group sees the light. Goes through this thing, and he said he just enjoys it and he watches it happen. And for you, I guess it was the Sphinx, but we all have this connection back to Egypt.
It's amazing, and I never believed. To be honest, I never believed in the stories a lot of people said about Egypt. I thought sometimes, you could just be making things up, or the sunstroke, and the same way I rationalized myself when it happened to me. I'm thinking, it's heat out here. I'm dehydrated. That's all it could be. But once you start realizing the after effects of it, you realize there's something over there. There's something that has the ability to change people that's created in the structure itself. And it wasn't for years later that I found that just human DNA touching one of those stones can have an alternate effect on a human being. And it's by design.
True epiphany, right? True epiphany.
Definitely.
And so you come back to the United States, and you chart your own course now, and you get busy. Did you have any idea at that time what you were starting on was going to turn out to be 8 films in a series?
I had no idea. I didn't even know how to make. The only thing I knew how to do from working at Walt Disney was voiceovers, movie trailers, but this is all audio.
Right.
So when we got into filmmaking, that was the level that I didn't know how to do, because I'm radio. I know how to create audio production.
Right.
But once you get into visuals, that's a whole nother realm. So I really didn't know how to create a film, but for something in me kept pushing me to do it. And that's when we came up with invitation number 1.
Did you, what came first here, the chicken or the egg? Were you thinking about the visuals because it's a film, or did you sit down and start writing? What did you do first?
Oh, I tell you, what opened it up, to be honest with you, the one thing about, and this is about our academic professors, our favorite lecturers, our favorite theologians, our favorite astrophysicists. This is just a commentary on what we believe as human beings and who we look up to. My favorite writers, I'm a lecturer and writer, is Graham Hancock. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've always loved his work when I was coming up. And there are a couple of others who are saying the same thing. But the one thing that every lecturer and every writer says is the pyramids are the greatest mystery on the earth. We'll never know how it's done. We'll never know who built it. And these are just some of the answers we just will never know. And I've always believed that because they told me to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that happens is when I'm flying into Giza, you fly over the pyramids. So when I'm flying over the pyramids, I notice from the air, it's got a square and it's got an X from above it. And I thought, why is there an X and a square if it's a pyramid? There has to be something to this. So I started looking into the study, and it shows that an X and a square meant the cosmos to Egyptians, and there was a circumference around it, 365. Around each part of it was the rotation of the Earth going around the sun. So when you add this circular dimension to this square object that means cosmos, and the other meant sun, and it's actually an Egyptian symbol. There's actually a circle with an X in it. It means there's a land. It means there's a place. It means there's a city. So I'm looking at this pyramid going, does this have something to do with a city, a place? What is this? So the more you delve into the creation of the pyramid, what it was for, it leads you someplace. And believe it or not, there is an answer to what the pyramid is for. There's a reason why they built it, and it's for us. It's telling us there is a great city, a great place in the cosmos where we go after death, but yet they're also telling us we can reach this city if we follow their instructions while alive. And the city is actually what we call heaven.
Right. And it took 8 films to put this together. And I would suggest to everybody, I mean, you really need to go Invitation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and watch them in order. But I have to ask you, Damon, do you have another one in you? Not another film series.
Oh, I don't know. I can tell you, there is something that happened to me on creative. Number 8 is the last film, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's the last film that I created, and I wanted it to be a 2-hour, full-length feature film to answer all of the questions. The problem with the series, and it started with the first one that I made, which was not The Knowledge of the Forever Time, but it was called Contact 2014. And in The Knowledge of the Forever Time, number 3, it's called Contact 2016. I don't know if I went too much into information, but I'm on somebody's radar now, and I don't know who it is. So they're, listening to my conversations. They have my emails. They know where I live. They enter into my house. They're stealing data from me. They're stealing stuff off my computer. And when I created number 8, if anyone who's out there done a film, they know that I'm telling you the truth. To get 15 minutes worth of work can sometimes take you 2 or 3 weeks. And once I got to 15 minutes worth of work, I would close down my computer, come back to it the next day, and everything would be erased. And then I'd thought, well, did I do that by accident? Then I'd go pull up my files from my hard drives. Everything off that is erased. So I'm thinking, what's going on? What's going on? This can't be accident. So I recreated it. I thought maybe, logical again. I thought maybe I just accidentally deleted and didn't know it. Created all over again, another 2 or 3 weeks, come back to it, it's deleted again. I go to my drives, they're missing. So someone was literally taking it. Every time I was completing it, they're taking it. So then I started looking at my other files, movie posters, scripts, writings, everything that is associated with the series is gone, completely gone. So the next thing I did was I said, I'm going to record when I leave, because they obviously have to come in the house to get this. There's no way that they can get about. And I have a security alarm on the house.
Sure.
So I leave the house. I recorded audio of me leaving the house. You can hear me punching in the security code, leaving the building. You can hear the garage shutting when I leave, and then there's quiet. Alarm stops ringing, so it's just quiet. Suddenly, you hear this beep, 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 beep. Then the alarm goes on standby. Wow. Then you hear people walking. Yeah, you hear people walking. So whoever is doing this, they have the ability to go past your alarm for your house. So if you think you're really secured, when they want to get in, they get in.
Right.
They literally put your alarm on standby, so they don't need the code. It's literally standby. You can hear them walking in. Next thing you hear is my computer starting up. Next thing you hear is more movement, and they're in there. I don't know if they're deleting it or saving it. Next thing you know, you hear beep, beep, beep. Then the alarm triggers again, and then it's on standby, and they leave. 20 minutes later, I hear myself coming back in the house. So these people, there was something about number 8 that they didn't want it to be done or to be completed, and I don't understand what it was.
Now, we're going to head towards a break here in 60 seconds. We'll continue this when we come back, but I have to ask you directly. One is always paranoid about stuff like this, right? Okay, that's one thing. And then when it proves to be true, it has the danger of pushing you over the edge mentally. You know, and you start asking yourself, are you questioning yourself? Because now that it's proving to be true, the reality that you thought wasn't is real. Are you going to be okay? Are you going to be able to get through this? How are you dealing with it?
Well, to know that someone has the ability to turn off your home security system when they feel like it.
Right.
And I didn't believe it at first. Yes, I'm going crazy. It's not possible. But after you hear an audio recording, you know you left, and you hear these people moving around in your home. It's different. And a lot of them now, they attack my computers. They attack pretty much everything I do. And I just recently came in, and someone had been on my computer in the home. And, of course, they're posting negative things about the film on Amazon Prime. And they left me a note saying, we're going to destroy everything you're doing. And if you go on Amazon Prime to see number 8, you'll probably see 5-star ratings from most people that watch it. But then after that, you'll just see out of the blue, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, and then they'll say some negative, hateful things. And the one thing that I can say, people can dislike the film, but we're unearthing the Nazca lines, for example. We're telling you what it actually means. It hasn't been done in 1,000 years. We're telling you a lot of things that no human being has heard in over 1,000, 2,000 years on Earth. And even if you dislike the film, how can it only be 1 star and then hateful comments after that? They made these threats to me on YouTube, and they told me that they would take down the entire structure of the Knowledge of the Forever Time so that no one ever sees it. So there's something about number 8 that really gets under someone's nails.
Right.
And I'm hoping it's not government. But I don't know who else has the sophistication to be able to do this.
Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Damon T. Berry. We're talking about his film series, The Knowledge of the Forever Time. Invitation number 8 is out. It is on Amazon Prime. And, of course, the links for Damon's YouTube channel over at on our website. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Damon T. Berry right after this short break. You stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go back, Lee Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring two Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hard shell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The two full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, director, writer, screenwriter, creator, Damon T. Berry. The Knowledge of the Forever Time. Invitations 1 through 8. Invitation 8 is out now. And right before the break, Damon, we were talking about those things that you have heard about over the years. You know, you hear about the Men in Black, or you hear about government interference, or the dark forces. You hear these stories from people, and it's tough to swallow and digest, and we all assume that somebody's just being paranoid or crazy. What's your take on that now when somebody wants to share this kind of experience?
That hurts, Jimmy. That really hurts. I just want to let you know that.
It does, doesn't it?
I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I just didn't believe it. I just think that it's overactive imagination. Again, I'm a logical, reasonable person. So when someone's telling me people are watching you, I just think that's your mind telling you that. And like I said, I believed myself I was misplacing things. I was doing things wrong, or maybe I fired up my computer wrong. If I didn't have the audio of that moment, I would still be thinking that I'm crazy, because the audio tells me you're not crazy. You hear how they're getting in, you hear what they're doing, and they're always going to your computer. And so the thing that I realize is as safe as we feel in our houses with our home security system, and I actually have cameras too, but it's the cameras that have that allow you to see what's happening on your phone. Any kind of camera I've learned with a Wi-Fi link, when I go to the camera to look, the time is missing. The individuals, when they come in, they literally hack into your signal and turn it off. That's all they do. So they really give you no feeling of comfort to know that they can walk in your home, they can take what they want. Your security system won't show anything. It'll all be deleted. Everything, all you'll have is a story. So when you're telling your story to someone, even when the police came out, we called the police out to investigate. They said the same thing. All you have is a story. You have no proof of a break-in. You have nothing to show that this actually happened. We will keep a watch, but that's all we can do. And so, it really changes you. And that's why when you ask me, do you want to do a number 9? No, sir. I've had about enough, because I never knew that creating a story that tells the story of mankind would make me so many enemies, and also potentially an enemy of my own government.
Yeah, and the fascinating part about all of that, for me personally, is I got those phone calls years ago when I started this, and I was warned, and I was told, and I was these things were said to me, and I over the years, literally every day I get an email from somebody that says they're a government source and they're watching me and that I'm doing the right thing, and they know that kind of like a little honeypot thing to make me feel good about myself, and I've learned to just go with it. It is part of the territory. I have no idea what's going on, but the intrusions logistically through electronics and the things that happen on a daily basis, every single day. When I was doing sports, nothing, no issues, man. And I was talking major smack about some pretty, big sports guys. And nothing. And I started doing this and getting into conspiracies and governments and things, and it happens every single day. My web guy literally, every day, Damon, says that we've had over 1,000 attempts at our passwords. 1,000.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Every day.
I believe it.
Every day. We've got a pretty good, robust, redundant system, and passwords are reset every day, and it's not that big of a deal. Somebody would have to click it and manage. I don't know how many characters long these passwords are, but they're stupid.
Right.
You can't read them. It's all symbology. But they would have to do it.
I learned something more than that.
What's that?
It's, believe it or not, if they hack the network, if they get into your network, they have the ability to see your keystrokes. So whatever your password is, they'll know it.
Right.
Once they get into the network, it doesn't matter how many times you change your password, they will know what the password is.
And this is what we do. You ready? Right. I have no passwords, and I don't set any passwords on anything here. I don't do it. It's done off-site, redundantly. Awesome. Yeah, and so they don't know who is resetting my. That is somewhere in the United States, and that's you have to do it that way.
Jimmy.
Yeah, you have to do it that way, and that goes for my email and as well as all of the other stuff. We have so many different network feeds that go out, and so many different platforms that we are on that all require passwords. I do none of them. Of them. It ain't. They're fishing in it ain't going to happen over here if they manage to get through this.
Let me ask you something though. Isn't it amazing how quickly your knowledge of hacking and intrusion increases the more they do these things to you? Isn't it amazing how much you learn?
Yep. And how quick I react to it too as well.
Exactly.
I don't even play around. If I think anything is funky, in nanoseconds everything is reset and done, and we throw up everything that we have for defensive capabilities. But we do it like this. Bam! I don't even play. I don't even question. If I have a question, then we react. We don't allow anything to happen, and we've been very fortunate in that. Let me ask you this though: are you looking over your shoulder? Is it like that?
It's sad to say. I try to do what you're saying. Don't even worry about it. Just go ahead. But you have to now, because believe it or not, they send me cues to let me know what they're doing. For example, I'll come in and all of my drives will be completely erased, and then I'll go to YouTube just to see my channel and check my comments, and someone will post on there, "Really loved your film. It was awesome. It was like it had completely erased all my drives when I saw it. It was just so amazing." And that's their way of letting me know. So that anytime they do something to me, they'll go on my page and they'll post something to literally say, "There's nothing you can do." And when they come in, when you sign on to your laptop, they have an ability to copy things that you're doing on your page. For example, you may have a number of things on your desktop. And I looked one day on my desktop and a notice came up, copying from desktop to desktop. And I don't have another desktop attached to my computer.
Oh, man.
So I go under Discover Devices, and there's some new random signal that's coming into your house, and they're copying everything off your laptop or your desktop into theirs. And then after they do that, they delete all of your stuff. So they're literally saving it for themselves, but deleting it from your hands. And this has all happened with creating number 8. And the one thing they kept saying on Facebook is that it's treason. And over, that's the message they've been telling me this number 8 is. It's involved with treason is what they call it. And they call it treason because in number 8, we're letting you know where this Stargate is, this structure that has the ability to transport an individual to another part of the universe. And unfortunately, these locations are outside of the United States. So that's the message that I've been getting.
The ability to now digitally distribute your film, you're working with UFO TV, right? How did you how did you end up completing the film if everything, I can only imagine the extra work, but you got it done. How did you get the distribution done if the interference, I mean, did you I don't know, do you put a hard drive in your car and drive it to UFO TV?
It's I'm going to tell you, it's the most difficult film that I have ever created, and it made me never want to do it again. Because I started out early because I wanted it to be perfect film. So I gave myself 3 months to complete it. I just wanted it to be beautiful, and I wanted it to be perfect. It didn't come out that way because I was really rushing. Like every time they deleted it, it put me behind a month and a half. So then I have to go back and recreate it, and I'm rushing to get it done. But every time that I came to my computer, it was always deleted. So my solution was never leave the computer by itself. So I brought the computer with me pretty much everywhere I went. I'm walking around with a computer around my neck all the time. So once the film is created, I loaded it on 3 different drives that would hold it. The first one was a 100 gig hard drive. I go back to it, plug it in the computer just to see if it's okay. As soon as I plug it in the computer, there's something that was in the computer that literally erased everything on the drive, completely gone. So now I'm only down to 2. The second one, I said, well, look, UFO TV, I got to get it in. He says, I've got my own account at FedEx. Drop it to me to FedEx. Give me the different copies that I need, and everything will be great. So I got the master copies. I'm going to FedEx. As soon as I pull up, there's 2 guys in a car, and there's one standing in front of the door. He's shaking his head no. So I drive to a different FedEx. There's guys there too. So while I'm leaving, somebody would say, treason. Treason. And I didn't know what that meant. They had to explain it to me. But from each location where I tried to send this to UFO TV, they were blocking it. So because I knew they were listening to the phone, I'd say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to the other city, and I'm going to take it to UPS store and see if I can. He said, I don't have an account there. I said, don't worry, I'll pay the $150 for it. So it's overnight. So I said, I'll go over to UPS store. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I gave the address. So while I'm driving to UPS store, there's a United States Postal Service on the way. I stop there instead, run in the store, drop it off. They get it in the mail. It's gone. Done. And that was the only way that he could get the particular drive that I was trying to give him, the master copy. And once, everything was done, next day, someone would drive by. I'd be walking. Treason!
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
Well, okay. How are you doing? I mean, now that it's done, it's done. It's done. It's up. I've seen it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. The Nazca stuff was spot on the money, though. By the way, that was really well done. But the and we'll get back to that. That was really Nazca when I was. Oh, let me see here, 63, 9 years old, whenever Chariots of the Gods came out. That Nazca stuff was the only reason why I wanted to go see the movie, right? Because it was in the commercials, and I would look at the pictures in the book, and so I've spent a life with Nazca, as a lot of us have. Your take on it was really, really well done, and we'll get back to that. But how are you doing? How are you doing now? It's done. It's done.
It's done, but see, here's how it gets worse. Now that the film is done, and when people saw the film, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly. It's always 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. But once I got the warning on YouTube, we are going to destroy your film. We're going to destroy everything about it. Then suddenly I go on there, and they're attacking it with fake identities, saying nothing but hateful and mean and cruel things and giving it the lowest star they can, which is 1. So it's really, they have a second way to get at me, and there's nothing I can do about it either way. So it's like it's continuing. It's like the same nightmare is continuing over and over and over. And the problem is number 8, they don't want anyone to see it. So the purpose now is disinformation, and that's what they're doing.
Did you see this happening to you when you started the film project? Did you ever have something prophetic, something that this is possible for the future? Because it's all fun in the beginning. Everything is great. Did you?
No, I did not. I didn't realize anything was different until I created the film that talked about UFOs are making star constellations as a mode of communication. And of course, everyone on YouTube thinks that is the dumbest thing they've ever heard. It couldn't possibly be making star constellations. And it was at that time that I started noticing different things happening around my house, different things happening on the way to whatever I was doing. People were looking at me, but I thought it was my imagination. And it isn't until you come to Nazca, for example, Nazca confirms that, yes, the way to communicate is star constellations. So when you understand that, and you understand what the United States and what other governments are doing right now, you understand how it's important. Because the United States is making conversation with extraterrestrial beings, and they're doing it using star constellations. It's how you talk. It's how you communicate. And people always ask me, how are you so sure that it's star constellations? How come it's not music? How come it's not mathematics? I said, because there's a simple understanding to it. Our mathematics is based on a 3-dimensional space in the universe. There are places in the universe where there's 5, 6, 7, 8 dimensions. So our mathematics from where they come from will be very different from ours. And the second thing is, when they're communicating with star constellations, it is the only universal thing in the universe. Our math is not universal. Our music is not universal. It's not everywhere in the universe. But stars, no matter what planet you're on, no matter what asteroid you're on, no matter where you are in the universe, you'll see stars. And in every part of the universe, that's how you communicate. That is, by definition, universal.
When you communicate this knowledge, and then somebody wants to use a word like treason or implicate that you're a traitor, or what does that say to you? Who do you think is trying to say this? I mean, I'm talking about the group. What is it that is treasonous about this? I mean, I could think of a lot of things, but what do you think is so treasonous?
From what I hear and from what they've posted, it's you are telling the world something that is a secret. Yes, the United States is conversing with other beings. The world's not supposed to know that. But even though I'm not saying it in the film, I'm telling you how to communicate with them.
Right.
And no nation knows that except for ours. So I'm telling you where a Stargate is, and it's not in our country. So because these things are being discussed out and openly, it gives the enemy or another nation the ability to leap ahead. And I do understand it, but from where I'm coming from, and this is the way they used to do it when I came up, if an individual had an ability to understand certain things about the cosmos or electronics or computer technology or astrophysics, the government would knock on their door and say, the government of the United States needs your service. Will you serve? And the person would usually say, yes, I will serve. That's not what's happening here. If I had known that this was a problem, they could have knocked on the door. Based on your research, you would be helpful for what we're trying to accomplish in our country. Will you serve? Of course I will. But that's not what happened. What happened was breaking in, taking, stealing, and trashing what you're creating. And that gives you a completely different feeling because you don't know why. They never told you why. And that's what makes me feel different about it.
Yeah, it's uncool. I don't want to use some pop culture term, but that's exactly what it is. It's just completely uncool.
Yes.
But
exactly.
Now, and here's the other part. Here's the rah-rah team part, right? This is me speaking to you directly. If you don't make another film, they're listening right now to this broadcast. 100% guaranteed, right? There are others listening to this broadcast that you and I aren't even talking about right now. There's those two as well. And if you say they win, well, then that's just it. They win. You've got to make another film. Or you're saying, dudes, you win. And I know and you know you're better than that, so you have to make another film. You don't have a choice.
Well, can I tell you something? And this is even worse. Crop circles are created in our world for one purpose, and people have no idea what the purpose is, but they're created as intervention. They're created for a purpose. We're not catching on. We left you hieroglyphics, we left you stones, we left you writings all over the earth, and you're not catching on. So crop circles are teaching us something that we need to know in order to prepare us for a future that none of us will be able to stand. So they're telling us things that are so beyond nation that it's crazy. But see, here's the beautiful part of it. They're doing most of the conversation to the United States and Europe. Almost everything they're communicating is just to Europe and the United States. Mm-hmm. So they're literally giving us the advantage, but we won't listen. For example, we think that everybody tells you in school that the sun, is the center of the solar system. Its gravity controls all the planets. It enlivens our world in light. What if you found out none of that is true? And what if you understand that how to create a Stargate is possible? How to open time is possible? How to show the world that gravity really doesn't exist? And when you understand what it really is, it gives you the authority, literally, to rule the planet. What do you do with that? How do you make a movie with that and them not come after you?
Yeah, and what's the alternative, though, Damon? The alternative is you don't make the film and they win, right?
Yes, they do.
So?
They do.
So the next one is crop circles.
But can you see, though?
I do.
You see, it's the crop circles. They're giving us, if we would stop. See, the problem with crop circles is the astrophysicist thinks it's something for crazy people. The problem with crop circles is academic society believes it's a hoax. The problem with crop circles is our most intelligent people on the planet dismiss it as nothing. And believe it or not, the most important knowledge of all, that's greater than any knowledge of an astrophysicist, is actually in the crop circle.
Right.
They're literally giving you schematics of how everything in the cosmos works, but we won't look at it because It's stupid. It's for crazy people.
That's right.
And that's what's so sad.
One of the and crop circles I was always on the fence about, but there until the last 5 years or so. But there's one event. We're going to hit a break here in 60 seconds. Next to Stonehenge, right? This tour bus shows up and drops off some tour. 45 minutes later, the tour bus comes back to drop off another group of tourists, and there's a crop circle there. Right? And you see it, 45 minutes before, 45 minutes later. And it's not just a crop circle. It's one of the most amazing crop circles in the history of everything.
Right.
45 minutes. You're telling me two old dudes and a piece of wood.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, crop circles fascinate me. Some are hoaxes. Maybe even a lot of them are. But the ones that are actual crop circles 100% blow my mind. Blow my mind.
Let me tell you what's interesting about crop circles. The ones that aren't hoaxes are the ones that are telling you something very important, and they're leaving messages.
Mm-hmm.
For example, they leave you this information. It's literally information, and people don't know what it is. Only the most intelligent or the person that are specialized in a certain category of knowledge, they're the only ones who will understand it. And it's an intervention. They're literally trying to say to the world, hey, catch up. You're falling behind. Learn this. And that's really what it's about.
The only way that some of the real ones that are done, quite frankly, are, magic. There's, it's something, it's not human created, right? There's something else that is creating
not
it.
Human.
Yeah, exactly.
Not human. There's one of them that is created in the UK, and it's a crop circle, and no one knows what it means. It's a plant at the center of it, and strange plants around it, and there's a strange language that no one can decipher. And the reason the plant is there is because there's something in England that they're telling you to look at, the Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is a book of plants, and it's written in a language that no longer exists. So they're literally showing you what you're supposed to be learning, and they're showing you what you need to do, but we won't do it.
Nope, because it's crazy talk.
It's crazy.
It's crazy talk. Our guest tonight, Damon T. Barry. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black, truly bespoke radio for the masses. Well, more of Damon T. Barry right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hi, I'm Matt Ray for U.S. Gold Bureau. I cover the market daily. No matter how strong it gets or what long-term predictions say, you can count on one thing as certain. There will be another crash. It will affect your assets. And when it happens, Wouldn't you rather be 2 weeks or even 2 months ahead of the curve? Well, Wall Street insiders have been quietly converting their assets into gold for the last few years. Now it's your turn. Buying gold and silver is easier than buying stocks. With the U.S. Gold Bureau's Investor Guide, it's free, and you learn how to buy precious metals in or out of an IRA or 401k retirement plan. Your investment shipped directly to your home and is 100% insured and guaranteed. You control your investments and shelter them against the stock market, politics, and unknown threats. Act while your dollar is still worth something. Call U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD. U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD, 800-885-GOLD. Call today.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Damon T. Barry, director of the film series The Knowledge of the Forever Time, which we are discussing tonight. The film series is complete. Invitation number 8 is out now, and you can go and check it out for free on Amazon Prime. And now, Damon, the first time that I saw invitation number 1, I have interviewed 1,000 guests, right? That's a large number. I have heard every single theory and idea possible when it comes to our crazy world. And when I watched invitation number 1, I went, wait a minute, this is coming from a different mindset here. We're discussing the same objects, places, locations, scripts, and so forth, cave paintings. But it's coming from a different mindset. And now what's interesting is how you were able to thread all of it together with the same message overall. Do you think that you did it effectively? Do you think that the message is clear?
Yes, I think the message is clear. I wish I could have, if I had a bigger budget, I think I could have done 1,000,000 times better. If I could have gotten it, the kind of funding that we really needed to make it even more powerful, I would really love that. But working with the resources that we had, the message is there. It's still the same. I think what I would like is better graphics, better, beautiful objects. But the solution is correct. They all go together. The cave painting, the Neolithic works, the prehistoric works, go along with the ancient works, and they all fit in our world today. The problem is every writer, every theologian, every lecturer, every professor is teaching the world a story that someone else told. And we stopped learning, we stopped discovering, we just start being more creative with our stories. For example, Flat Earth. Flat Earth is being creative. It is an epistemological argument that has no basis in fact or reality. But for the mind, it's creative. It's like a cat playing with a ball of string. All of the things go together. The problem is people are unwilling to accept it as real and as provable and as logical. And I think that's the problem.
The other part of it is, and some of the feedback that I've gotten is that your message is great. The information is comprehensive, but there's also a dark side to it too. It feels a little a doomsday-ish. It seems a little dark too as well. And I think that is unintentional. If that's the message that people are getting, the people see what they're going to see. They're going to read it. They're going to feel what they're going to feel. But I don't see the doomsday side of it. I don't. I think the message is far, far greater than that. But do you think that there was a doomsday feel that was intentional or unintentional?
It's completely unintentional. But remember we talked at the outset of the show about the movie Tomorrowland, where you're showing everyone the future, showing what will happen in the future if you don't change. If you don't change your ways, this is what will happen. And the bad guy in the movie is saying this because people, they think that knowledge is entertainment. They think that information is fun, and it should only be seen as fun. They think that any calamity that happens in our world or in our future is a part of some funny story or an enlightening story. Most people love apocalyptic books, apocalyptic movies, and they think it's all entertainment. But at what point do we say, hey, these people who lived on this earth 60,000 years ago are telling us that there is a cycle that we all go through and then we destroy ourselves? At what point do we say, hey, maybe we should listen to them? When does that happen?
And the destroying ourselves is is it possible to change the future? I look at it two ways. Is this somebody with the knowledge of the future that is sending us this information back that we should take advantage of and to change our path? Or is it that we can't avoid that things will come to an end and we just need to vacate and we need to go somewhere else? It's a perplexing thought because it's going to go one of two ways. Which one do you think that you need to get across? Because I think that you have both messages there.
Well, you're exactly right. Both messages are there. The choice is up to the viewer. And the sad part about our understanding of anything that is real is we have 60 years of individuals walking the earth telling you no one will understand what the pyramid means. Cave paintings were made just by savages who were just drawing things. And most of these books are destroyed because they contain the work of the devil. These are the individuals that are the reason our future is so bleak, because we all believe them more than the others who are creating these objects for us to learn. For example, there's cave paintings that are 60,000 years old, and they show us the cosmos, not the sun, but black holes.
Right.
Event horizons, things like that, 60,000 years old. So at what point do we say, you know what, we need to look at this a little closer? How are they showing us this if you're telling us they were cavemen?
Right.
I mean, the naked eye would not be able to produce these images. You have to have technology. So at what point do you say, let's listen to what they painted it on a cave for a reason. A cave is dry. A cave will hold paint, not for just a year. It'll hold it for 60,000 years. So they painted it inside a cave for a reason. And most of the images that they paint that have to do with the cosmos are always on the ceiling. So they understand that this is information, we're passing it down to you. So at what point do we, who call ourselves intelligent and technological, accept the reality that this is knowledge? we should listen to what they're saying because they wrote it for a reason and they got wiped away. So that's 60,000 years later. And then there's another message that's 50,000 years old. It's the same one. And then that civilization is gone. There's another civilization that arises that's 40,000 years old, 45,000 years old, 30,000 years old, 20,000, 10,000, and then suddenly they all vanish. So there's a cycle to mankind being on this planet, creating, learning, becoming technological, and then it ends. And the cycle is over and over and over again. And we are now at the point that they were when they got wiped out. And the reason we know this is because they have telescopes. They have satellite telescopes that are able to see deep into the cosmos because what they're painting requires a Hubble telescope. We now have that. That's the last thing they created, and they were wiped away. So at what point do we say, we are now where they were, and they got wiped out, so what's coming? And so that's where we should be thinking.
This is the trippy thing about what you just said, and I can't express this any more direct than this. I walk outside and I look up at the stars, right? And I'm fascinated by it. But I can't tell, with all of my vast knowledge that I have, I can't tell one constellation from another or a planet from a star. I don't know what is floating orbiting in our solar system. I don't know the difference of, I don't. But yet, and I know that we orbit the sun, and we have other planets that are orbiting the sun, and our solar system is part of the Milky Way. But I know this because I'm told. And yet, the Anunnaki and with the Sumerian are clearly showing 5,000 years ago a sun with planets around it. Now, wait a minute here. Stop for a second. Right? I can't look up in the sky. I would have to stay up and look at the sky every single day of my life and try to do star charts and figure out the difference between a star and a planet with my naked eye. Right?
You get it, Jimmy. You get it.
I do get it. And the crazy part about all of that is academia, right? Or the church will tell you, well, they just looked at the stars a lot. Stop that. Stop that.
But here's the thing that's interesting. You said the sun showing planets around it, and then that was 5,000 years ago. But then if you look to our world some 500 years ago, most people believed that the sun was the center of the universe. There weren't any planets. It was just us and the sun. And most people 600-700 years ago thought that the earth was the center of the universe and the sun revolved around the earth. So it really comes down to what people are telling you, whether you believe it. Now, if someone was teaching you that the Anunnaki is showing that here's the sun and here's planets around it, that just think about how much more advanced we would be as a civilization if we listened. Because, in the 1600s, 1400s, we still believe that the earth was the center and the sun revolved around us. So it's two different things that are telling you about our knowledge and our intellectual ability. And that is, the further you go back in time, the more truth you find. The closer you are to where we are, the more confusing things are, the more things are untrue. So they really have the answers that we need, but we won't listen to them because we dismiss them. And I think that's the sad part about our civilization.
That's the treason. That's it right there. That's the treason.
Yes.
That's the treason.
Yes,
I know, right? That's all you can do is laugh. At this point.
Yeah, that was good, Jimmy. That was good.
The Nazca lines part. For all of us, you look and you can see a spider, you can see a bird, you can see, a monkey or the obvious alien dude on the side of the mountain, right? You can see all of those things.
Right.
But I've often thought that there was a puzzle there. There was a complete cryptographic message because of the lines, the runways, the tops of mountains being cut off. And it is a complete puzzle that is there for us to figure out. Nobody would do that. I love Eric Von Daniken. I do. I love him. And I've I've hung out with the guy. And it was great that he helped to present this to the world. But nobody took it a step further. You did. How did that puzzle, was it just one day a light bulb went off? How did you figure that out?
Well, I've been holding on to that one for 2 years. I was holding on for that one for 2 years because, have you ever seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In the movie Contact, they get this alien message, and the message has all these things put together, but they don't know what the primer is. The primer, the binding thing that makes it all make sense. So without the primer, it's just gobbledygook. No one can figure it out. The Nazca lines, I had my hunch about what it meant, but I didn't have the primer. I didn't have that one thing that made me understand what it is. And then when I finally found it, I said, this is what it is. Everyone has seen it in Eric Von Daniken's book. It's a square, and it's a circle in the middle, and it's got these strange lines going around it. And the Knowledge of the Forever Time, episode 5, tells you that the sun, that the ancients are telling us that the sun has 16 lines in it. And the sun from 5,000 years ago is the exact same sun that they're presenting in Nazca. All those little lines, those 16 different lines, are for direction. They're navigational points. And around that square sun is another square that's broken up into 3 parts in each corner. 3, 6, 9, 12. It's an object that has 12 different parts to it, which means it's a year. Around the 16 different cardinal points of direction, there's 2 more in each corner. Each little square is if you count them, it's telling you that it's the cycle of the Earth and how it travels the sun. And there's also, in that same object, 3 different spiral rings, one closer, one further, and one even further. The furthest one is the one you count. That's Earth. The other are Mercury and Venus. So once I understood that this object represents the sun, and if it has 16 marks in it, 16 marks are only for direction. So if it's the sun, it means that everything on this plateau has to do with direction. It has to do with locations, not just on the Earth, but also in the cosmos. And once I had that primer, everything opened up. Every single animal just completely opens easily.
And as you started to, I can imagine, I can see you like counting on your fingers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Yes.
Did they all, did you have to force fit any of the constellations, or did it all just work?
No, it all works because, believe it or not, I was like you. And before I got into this field, I listened to everyone who always taught. And there are 1,000 different stories that people say about Nazca. Matter of fact, I Googled Nazca solved, and there's 100 different pages of people saying they solved it, and none of them have it right. It's not solved. Everyone has an idea about it. They think it's alien. They think it's this or that, but it's not solving it. The reason that they left this, there's a code in everything that they created, is so they want you to learn. Because once you learn the code, you're really learning their language. That's how they talk. So once you understand the code, you understand their language. Once you understand their language, you know how to speak to them. So whenever you're looking for Nazca, for example, you see a object that's round and has 16 marks in it. Once you understand their language, you realize 16 marks are 16 cardinal directions. It's something that's giving directions. And the reason that all the pyramids on the earth are created is because they're created for the sun. A sun is always square with a round base. Square base, what has a circular, which means sun. It's the same thing you find in Nazca. So once you're able to understand how these all fit together, everything opens because there's a code to Nazca, and this is the only way to truly unlock it. And for everyone who thinks I'm going too fast, there is a video that I have that's called Learn and Teach the Nazca Line in 6 minutes. So if you just Google learn and teach Nazca in 6 minutes or Nazca Damon T. Barry, I just have one video of just how to understand Nazca. And here's the clue. Whenever you see a monkey, for example, in Nazca, never look at the obvious. Don't look at a monkey and say, okay, this is a monkey, this one's a dog, this one's a spider. That's how come we never can open anything. We dismiss anything they create as beneath us. We're actually an arrogant people. So we see a spider and we think, okay, that's a spider. This one's a horse. This one's a bird. This one's a dog. Wrong. That's why no one's unlocked it. For example, if you see a monkey, there's a great monkey on there. He's got a swirling tail. Now, if you said, that kind of reminds me of a galaxy, that's what they want you to think. The clue that gives it away is always to count their appendages. For example, if you look at the monkey's hands, look very closely. Monkeys have 5 fingers, just like all of us do. But if you count the monkey's fingers, he has 5 fingers on one hand, 4 fingers on the other. That's your clue. If you look at his feet, monkeys have 5 toes, just like we do. But if you look at the monkey's feet, he only has 3 toes on each foot. That's your other clue. And all you have to do is add up the number that you count on each hand and on each foot. And with the monkey, you'll arrive at 15. And if you want to know what it means, look up star constellations, because the constellation of monkey has 15 star points. That's what it's created for. It's created to send us into the stars. And that's the solution. That's what's been open. So I just ask anyone, if you see number 8 on Amazon Prime, no one's done this in 1,000 years. So I'm just hoping for just more than 1 star. That's all. That's all I'm asking.
I just popped it up in Twitter. Everybody just retweet it right there. Learn the Nazca lines in 6 minutes. The video's there. And certainly I'm going to do this after the show tonight. We're going to head towards a break here. Before we do, staying on Nazca, if we are looking at these different constellations and you point to each one in number 8, all right, it's clearly there. But why should we go? And constellations are large. So is there a specific point in these constellations, and why do we need to go there?
The constellations are the most important part of space travel, because everywhere in the cosmos does not support a 3-dimensional space, which means if you're in a vehicle, a space shuttle, a spaceship, your navigation's useless. The spaceship will not work, basically, when you're in space, because it doesn't support a 3-dimensional space when you travel through the universe.
Right.
So when you're traveling through the universe, everything that we create in a 3-dimensional world is useless. So when we're sitting in space, you look at the stars, you match up the stars give you direction. It's almost like back in the old days when, the only way to travel distance was a ship. A ship could have a guy who's there to navigate, but if he's no good, just point your ship toward the star. It'll get you right to where you need to be. And that takes us back to the cave painting. There's a cave painting that's found in one of the caves that has an image of a man, it has an image of a sun, and all around the sun in this cave painting are these animals all around the sun. And what this cave painting is showing us is once you enter the sun and exit through this gate, these are the star constellations that are around it. And they literally show you how to get to each planet based on these animals. Because if you follow these animals in space, they take you to a particular planet. It's so simple. It's amazing.
There's I don't know if you've been following the news lately, but we have these mummies with 3 fingers and 3 toes that have been uncovered in Nazca. Have you seen any of the videos or any of the images out there?
I've seen a quick video. I did not get to watch it at length. Is it real?
I'm asking you. I mean, coincidence?
I didn't get to see it at length, but I would believe that they are real, because the reason that they're creating all this stuff is it's like you said. You looked at Nazca. This one's a runway. this mountain is sheared off flat like a runway. I mean, they're giving you all the clues that you need to show you, hey, this is about flight. The Nazca lines themselves, you can't see them unless you're in space or in flying.
Right.
So it's clear. It's clearly telling you your future is getting in the air, getting in space. That's the future for mankind. And the sad part about people believing that certain things are treason, humanity has to do this. It just has to, because our future will give us no other choice. And we're on a collision course with the end, and it's all man-made. So space is where we're supposed to be.
The Nazca people are no more, right? We don't know who created the Nazca lines. We don't. And I watched this anthropologist, archaeologist, whatever, literally say on camera, go, you know, it's very simple. These are paths that you walk for prayer. And I was like, is that the best you've got? Is that the best? These are paths. That's all you do. You walk these paths for prayer. And
you know, Jimmy, can I say something? It's the way I feel about pretty much everyone that I've ever seen on every documentary of every subject. Any kind of ancient studies, we interject what we believe onto the narrative, and that becomes our truth. And that's what's so sad. Because, like I said, I loved Graham Hancock. He was one of my favorite authors. And he said something, and everyone repeats him. The pyramids are built. It stands there and asks you, go figure. None of us will ever know what they mean. Now, if you believe in him and you like his work, you'll never look for an answer.
No, you've got to go beyond. Yes.
You've got to go beyond.
Yes.
And our teachers, our lecturers, our professors, they teach us to not go beyond. They'll tell you no one will ever know. And that makes you stop trying. And I think that's the sad part of our world now.
We're going to continue exactly where we are when we come back. We've got to finish this thought. Fascinating. Damon T. Berry, The Knowledge of the Forever Time. Again, the film series is complete. It's all for free. You can go check it out right now, Amazon Prime. Invitation number 8 is waiting for you. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Damon T. right after this break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Our guest tonight, director, filmmaker, Damon T. Berry. We're discussing The Knowledge of the Forever Time. Invitations 1 through 8. Number 8 is out now. And now, Damon, I've got to finish this thought because it is very important here when we are talking about something like the pyramids. It's a weapon. It's a communication device. It's astronomical. It's immortality. It's a tomb for the pharaohs. The list goes on, and it's a grain storage device. Right? The list goes on and on. It's infinite, which tells me that nobody has the answers, but everybody wants to stop where they are and suggest this. I don't have issues with pushing all of these theories, to the center of the table and discussing them and trying to figure it out. But certainly throwing up our hands and giving up is the wrong thing. By not knowing, it clearly suggests that there is something to figure out here, and let's do it. Let's not throw up our hands. And that's your take on it. Why is it that the amnesia wants to set in here and nobody wants to figure out something that is absolutely there for us? It's a puzzle. Let's get it. Why isn't there research? There's nothing scientific. There's no, colleges and Egyptologists and so forth want to close the book on it. They think that they have the answers.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the problem is, and this is a problem, and most people will be uncomfortable with this answer, but it's a fact. The reason that we believe all of these crazy things is because our favorite lecturer said it. Our favorite professor said it. Our favorite archaeologists, our favorite theologian said it. And because we like them, we accept what they say, and that's the end of it. And it's sad, but that's the problem. Because your favorite lecturer or your favorite writer, because he can't find the answer, doesn't mean that one doesn't exist. And that's what makes things so sad about where we are in our world today. Because, for example, crop circles. Crop circles are out of this world knowledge. I mean, if a world government really understood what was out there in the crops, they would make sure that not one human being went near it for eternity. There's so much alien knowledge out there that if one nation harnessed that knowledge, they would rule this world for another 30,000 years, because they're teaching us knowledge that is light years ahead of where we are. I mean, they're literally showing us everything we think about gravity is untrue. Everything we've been teaching about the sun, untrue. So the problem is we won't accept it because our favorite writer, our favorite theologian, our favorite professor says it's nothing but two old men or some college kids making it in the fields. And we stop. So we don't know it, but the people that we look up to, they're no different than a pastor or a cleric or a priest. When they tell us something, we fall in line and believe it. And that's what's so sad about where we are in our world today.
The fact that the Great Pyramid is 8-sided, and I'm looking at Twitter here. Twitter is just popped up with this. I was going to go there anyway. Is 8-sided. Now we are talking about something that allegedly was built, if we go with the dogma that we're taught, was built at around 2600 BC. At a point where technology was non-existent, allegedly, again, if we go with what we are taught. And so what they are trying to make us accept is that man, one step away from the Stone Age, built a perfect structure that spanned time. It is still here today. That wasn't 4-sided. It was 8-sided and built perfectly. Now, that kind of geometry, architecture, engineering, and everything else that I could show as evidence is a crazy achievement that today we could not do. We wouldn't do it. Why would we do it? An engineer would say, dude, that is so expensive, so crazy, so retarded, why would you want to do that? It is nuts. But yet, it was built. And they just want to blow it off. They want to blow, they want to, wait a minute here. There was high technology. This is a message. Let's figure out what this message is. But they just want, well, it was 8-sided. Yeah, they were pretty smart. That's their answer. Right. That's their answer, Damon. Right. And they want us to accept that. And everybody does. That's the crazy part.
Right. And you know, the sad part about that is that when people that you respect or that you admire tells you these things, there's no way to unlearn it. You can't get it out of you. And one of the worst criticisms that irritate me the most that I've received on every film that I've made, they always say, you have no proof. This is just your guessing and wild assertions, and none of this could possibly be true. You're just stating things as though it's fact, and it's not fact, and you don't have any proof. This is just statements you're saying. These are people who believe what these other people are telling them, because the proof is the actual artifact itself. It exists. And we're telling you what it means and what it does. But the sad part about the story is once someone believes what someone tells them, everything else after that has to be a lie. And that's what's so sad about the whole story. Because when you look at the base of the pyramid, it's a square. And although people will tell you it has 8 sides, it doesn't. Because an 8-sided pyramid would actually be called an octagon. It's not an octagon, it's a square. The 8 sides represent an indentation in the space. It's not a side, it's an indentation. And 8 is to let you understand that it has 8 cardinal directions, 8 cardinal direction points of direction. And the reason they want you to understand that it has 8 cardinal points of direction is because the Great Pyramid of Egypt is built literally in the center of this earth. It is the center of all landmass on our planet. So because it's built in the center of the earth, It also has 8 cardinal points for the direction. It is aligned true north more perfectly than any structure we've ever seen, which means it's made for navigation. And because we now know it is made to represent the sun, that is the clue. The sun itself is a gateway. The sun has 8 cardinal points of direction. Some objects like Nazca give it 16 points of direction, which means it is made there for us to navigate. The ancients are telling us there's something in the sun that allows us to travel into the cosmos. And although we think it is impossible, it is preposterous, we have videos of UFOs entering in and out of the sun at a regular intervals. So it's possible to enter into it, and it's possible to leave. And I don't know if you've seen Nazca pictures of the sun recently. There are large chunks of it that are just completely missing, which means there are cold spaces in the sun where a vehicle of human size can enter without being burned. So all of this is created to tell us something about where we need to go, because the pyramid, the number of its blocks means something, its height means something, its circumference means something, and it's all telling us the answer is in the stars.
With our current technology, it would be impossible for us to go to the sun. We can't do it. So is
not true.
Okay,
not true.
Well, that was okay. You know the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Nazca, if you Google it right now, Nazca is sending probe into the sun. Nazca is sending a probe into the sun. I believe it's this year or next year, just to see what's in there. And because they're sending a probe means they're talking to someone. They're talking to a higher being, because they're letting them know this is how you travel. And NASA is now sending a probe. Now, if NASA has the ability to send a probe into the sun and gain technological information and data from it, it means we have the ability to enter it. So we can do it. Apparently, it's a secret, though.
What do you think they're looking for? In that, do you think that they have the information that we are talking about here, right? And that is what they are trying to figure out? Do you think that that's part of it?
I'm positive, because that's where the treason comes in. Nazca is now has the information that you and I talk about on a daily basis.
Right.
And what everyone else used to say was crazy and stupid and far out and far-fetched, NASA is realizing, yes, this is true. Because what they've seen in the sun, if you Google satellite image hole in the sun, you'll see that there's masses of the sun just missing. I mean, you could fill 1,000 Earths into the sun in the spaces between it that it's creating, just cold spots. So the sun is showing us these cold spots, which telling you, human beings, you can do this. You won't die. And what's really important about this is this knowledge is ancient. It's 10,000 years old, 15,000 years old. This knowledge of entering into the sun is old. And people hate when I say this, but it is the truth. We are the slowest human beings ever to walk on this planet, because all human races, all civilizations are given 5,125 years from stone to technology, and then it ends. And every civilization that came before us, they made pyramids too. They also left this earth. They went inside the sun, and they also returned. We are so past. I mean, our civilization became 5,000 years old in 2012, the Mayan prophecy.
Right.
That's when we became 5,000 years old, and we still haven't entered the sun. All the other civilizations, they already had done this years ago. We still haven't done it, because there's a benefit to entering into the sun and traveling the cosmos. It's one of the other things that they did that we can't do. You know what that is?
What's that?
There's a place in the cosmos, according to the ancients, where if you reach it, there is something in there that prolongs your life, that allows a human being to live not for 100 years, but for 40 or 50,000 years. And that's the prize for going there. And although it may sound crazy and bombastic, if you look through the Sumerian record of all the kings, the first king that ruled Samaria lived 23,000 years. The next guy lived 27,000 years. Another lived 43,000 years.
Right.
So it's showing that there is a possibility that it's true. And the reason we know it's true is because all of us on this earth have their DNA. And all of us are literally brothers and sisters because these individuals populated the majority of our earth. So that's the prize for human beings to get into space. That's the prize. You get to come back as a god, a deity, because you will live for 50,000 years.
Do you think there's one event that is about to happen or could happen that would open up the entire planet's eyeballs and go, okay, all right, things are not what we were taught. There's something else going on here, and now we need to look into another direction. Is there an event that will happen?
I have to tell you this. I've done that on a couple of shows before, and I think that's probably what has so many people knocking on my door and finding out what I'm doing. So I really wouldn't want to speculate on that anymore. I would say that we are venturing into a point where everyone understands that it's a reality. Our government is already speaking to these alien beings. And there's a reason that, in the first film that I created, Contact 2014, I'm showing you can Google any UFO video all over the world. And if you look at it and star constellations, you'll say, hey, those 3 UFOs look like Orion. Hey, that looks like Cygnus. I mean, they literally start making these patterns.
Right.
And the one thing that you see that's happening in the United States, because the United States has more UFO activity than any place in the world, that means that we are communicating. We are already currently having dialogue with these beings. So it's truly going to the United States will truly determine what our future will be. And that could be we leap into the next world, or they decide to get tired of us because we're moving too slow. So it could be anything.
One of my favorite subjects to remind everybody of, this audience, and I want them to constantly be cognizant, to be aware of what is going on, is it seems that, Damon, every week there is a press conference, there's a press release about a new exoplanet or about fast radio burst or laser communications or an alien megastructure or life on Mars or. It never was like this before. And
never.
It's true. And this constant alien talk coming from the official agencies in this country is starting to become overwhelming. What's the message?
Yeah. The message is priming humanity to accept the reality that we are not alone in the universe. And I'm pretty sure that this is not America's position. I think they're being told, you have to start talking to the people. You have to start preparing them. In the Knowledge of the Forever Time number 8, we show you a crop circle that keeps showing up over and over and over. And it's a knowledge that human beings have to have in order to move forward. And we also show you there was a satellite signal from 1972, the WOW signal.
That's right.
There was a signal, the signal that we received in 1972 that was so overpowering. Everyone who had heard it was blown away. They were like, what kind of signal is this? It's a radio signal. It was the most powerful signal we've ever seen, ever heard from space. The only one that really tells us there's something out there. And after that signal, we haven't heard anything else. But they sent us that signal to let us know we're watching you. And there's a Voynich manuscript. If anyone doesn't know what the Voynich manuscript is, it's about a 650-year-old manuscript that is the strangest manuscript anyone has ever seen on the planet. No one has ever been able to decode it. After 600 years, we've only decoded at least 10 or 15 names in the book. And this book was important because it's telling us something about our future. And the signal that we heard is tied to this book. That's why this book that has a language that we've never heard of, that's full of plants, is why there were crop circles of plants with strange languages that we never heard of. They're telling us, pick this up and learn it because it has to do with our future. And right now we're at a point to where we are talking to extraterrestrials The next step is to make it public, and I think that's where we're headed.
I'll tell you something strange about the Voynich manuscript. I have tried to do a show on it for years. Everybody that we have contacted, all the professional, will not do a show. Won't do a show. Won't talk about it.
I believe it.
And
I believe it.
The book is so important and is so fascinating. And this is the other part that is it's pretty trippy when it comes to the Voynich. Try to find you would think that there would be 1,000 documentaries. There are not.
Right.
There may be two that are worth watching. And it is one of the most closed down subjects out there. Fascinating book.
Yeah, there's an author in the UK. His name is Stephen Bax. When I looked up the Voynich manuscript, he is the preeminent source of knowledge of the book. And his preeminence is based on 15 different words. That's it. And other people have many different ideas of the Voynich manuscript, but like you said, it's probably one of the most mysterious books ever made. And the problem with it is, once you understand what it actually means, it's very difficult to tell human beings what it actually means, because it's very, what's the word? It's overpowering for the psyche and the soul of a human. So talking about it is never good.
I went, I had it bad for the Voynich, man, for a long time, still do. And I'm going back 20 years, right? And I looked at images of every single page, and I thought to myself, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm a smart guy. I can do this. And I can figure out the paintings. I can figure out the symbolism. I can figure it out. I may not be able to decode it, the writing, but I'm going to figure these drawings out. No. And there is something so mysterious about each one of those pages. There is a real message there. I don't think it was somebody on drugs. I don't think it's somebody trying to have fun, somebody that was profiting, creating some fake thing to sell to some king that was into alchemy, all of these different rumors out there, all these different theories behind it.
None of that's true.
No. That book is real, and I can't get anybody to talk about it. And if you can find me somebody, I would love to get them on the show. Can't do it. You cannot do it. That is a perplexing mystery right there, the Voynich.
Well, we talk about it in number 8, and one of the things that people, it's not comforting. So if you haven't seen number 8, the knowledge of the Voynich manuscript it's overpowering, because it's written in a language that doesn't exist. And yet, if you understand it, it's literally 3 different languages saying the exact same thing. One of the languages is going to be botanical, flowers. The other languages is going to be planets, stars, cosmos. And the third language will be a painting of a pictogram, a drawing of something. So if you can't understand the written language, there are 3 others that will help you. And they all say the exact same thing over and over and over. Each page tells you the same thing. The problem is when you understand it, it's almost horrifying, because the reason the Voynich manuscript came to be, if you look through history, it has something to do with the return of the Crusades. It has to do something with our history. When we went overseas and we fought the War of the Crusaders and we came back, they came back with this knowledge. And once they came back, this book was created. This book was found. And someone is telling us a story of the end of the world that they found when they were fighting the wars over there in the Middle East. So when they came back, suddenly the Voynich manuscript appears, and there's another book that's called the Mandrake. It also appears. They both are saying the same thing, but each of them complement the other in helping you to understand the entire story. So once you understand the story of the Voynich manuscript, it's it's horrifying. The Knights Templar is responsible for bringing that knowledge to this part of our world. That was holy knowledge they got from over there, and they brought it here, and that's why it's been disseminated everywhere. The reason we know this is because in the Voynich manuscript, there's a picture of the Pope. So when we understand why they went there, what they learned when they were over in that part of the world, they brought it back here. And this is how we understand the story. But if you haven't seen The Knowledge of the Forever Time, number 8, that part's pretty difficult to watch.
Now, I want to thank you, first off, for taking the time and coming on tonight. Just another fascinating conversation. You know what? Screw. You want to do some overtime?
I'm ready to do overtime.
Yeah,
if you're ready.
You know what? Let's do. You know what? I'm not ready to end this because when we come back, let's. And I'll tell you. I'll tell you why. September 23rd, we have this crazy prophecy that's going around. I'm sure you've heard about it. That this Saturday is the end of everything, and it's about to kick off over in Jerusalem. Have you made plans for this Saturday?
Yes, I have. I have made plans for this Saturday, but I'm counting on the world being here this Saturday.
Yeah, so right.
Those are that's the plans I'm taking with right now. I have to tell you, the only day that really made me think, hey, there could be something to this, was the Mayan prophecy 2012. That was the only thing that really made me think twice.
I was so
they're
freaked
talking
out.
about. Yeah. What about you?
I was freaked out.
Yeah.
Man. I mean,
yeah.
I had at that point, by the time it had come around on satellite and on the internet, there was a new documentary coming out every single day.
Every day. I remember that.
Day, man. And so
I remember that.
Yeah, through 2011 and 2012, by that time, I was worked up, man. They sold me on it.
Me too. You're right. It was a new documentary every day. It was something new telling you were going to die. You're right.
You know what the last documentary I will watch today, and I'm a big a 2012 documentary. I won't watch a 2012 documentary anymore.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Those I'll pass on. Let's take a break. Let's do some overtime with Damon T. Barry. Having too much fun. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. And again, we're discussing The Knowledge of the Forever Time. Invitations 1 through 8. Number 8 is out now, Amazon Prime. Let's do some overtime with Damon T. Barry. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back.
Listen to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. Get the T.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. Get the T.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. Get the T.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
I'm Matt Ray with America's First News. We all know if you're planning a trip, you should shop and compare, right? But why endlessly search the web when you don't have to? Flight Services helps you find the lowest possible airfare. Talk directly to a travel pro right now for the best deals available. Their travel pros have additional discounts not found on websites, and Flight Services provides 24-hour customer service. Call toll-free 844-845-9944. That's 844-845-9944.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Doing a little overtime with Mr. Damon T. Barry. You know, sometimes the conversation was not ready to end. That's what, you know, I kind of feel like Johnny Carson, right? You remember when Johnny would go, you know, come on over to the couch. Come on over and sit down and let's continue this. Now, this is what's trippy about this doomsday prophecy for this Saturday. In its basic form, if you add 33 days to an eclipse, which this one just happened just recently, an eclipse happens somewhere on planet Earth every couple of years, right? So that negates that brainiac type of prophecy. But there's another spin on this, and you've talked about this a lot, and that's Nibiru. And so the spin on this is that Nibiru is coming at us with a bunch of planets in tow, and is going to cause this destruction. Now, a Nibiru, which I think is real somewhere, is not just going to appear overnight. There are too many amateur astronomers. Nibiru would be lit up by the sun at this point, right? Am I wrong in this thinking here? Why do people buy into doomsday prophecies?
You know, remember, we go back to the Tomorrowland, the movie, Tomorrowland. I mean, it's something that attacks the psyche. It's an attack on not just your way of life, it's an attack on your life. And the thought of an end is always good for business. I mean, people just really gobble up any kind of destruction and hell and ending. And the reason is because we're ready to give up. We're not willing to fight for our earth. We're not willing to fight for our future. If end comes and we all die, we're all prepared for that. None of us are prepared to live. None of us will do the hard thing to change our future, to change our fate. None of us want to do that. But as far as any kind of doomsday prophecy about how we all will die, it'll be fiery or aliens, we literally accept it as entertainment. Why? Because it doesn't require us to do anything. We don't have to change. We can just all die, and everyone seems to be happy with it. And it's very disturbing to me.
And the other part about it is so people that I consider are, smart are willing to stop making their mortgage payments. Right? Oh, I don't have to pay my taxes.
Right.
Let's just sell everything. Let's move to the middle of Kansas and get a bunker and ride this thing out. And then they got to come out of the bunker the next day and look around and go, well, I lost my house. Right?
I saw, but that's been going on for forever.
I know.
Mean, there was a Baptist preacher, last name Darby, I think back in early, I can't remember the year, but it was some time ago. He told everybody when the end of the world was going to be. And people left their farms, left their houses, left everything they had. And the world kept going. And there's a story about that kind of person everywhere. And even Jesus, when people asked him when the end shall be, he would tell them what would happen in the end. And he said, verily I say to you, this generation will not pass until all these things are fulfilled. So if your Christ and God can be wrong about the end, so can everybody else. So everyone has prophesied the end, and no one has got it right. Not one. And that's the disturbing thing about life, because the reason everyone gets it wrong is because we're in control of it. Human beings will determine if our world ends or not. It won't just be a prophecy. We play a part in whether we live or survive. So it's really up to us to determine how we end, because according to the Mayans, we were supposed to be done, in 2012. And Jesus said the same thing when he was alive. This generation will not pass away until all these things are fulfilled. And that generation is dead and gone. So everyone who's ever predicted the future has been wrong. So I'm going to bet on Earth just a little bit longer, and I think we'll be just fine on Saturday.
The amount of, and I did this at the beginning of the show, you probably didn't hear it, but the amount of modern, I'm talking about since 1990, right? The amount of predictions and prophecies for the end of the world, it's in the hundreds. And I remember this guy, his name was Harold Camping. And Harold Camping was a preacher guy that had a radio network, and he here in Los. You remember that? Yeah. And these motorhomes, or I think one was like a tour bus, and then 3 motorhomes behind it, if my memory's right. All with body wraps on it with end of the world and a website and the date and completely painted, driving all over drove around the country, right? And this guy got everybody worked up, and he changed the date, and eventually, was called out on it. But yet we are talking about millions of people that you would think were smart enough to say to themselves, this has been done before. Right. I mean, what makes one guy's message more special than the other that people stop and listen? I don't understand it. I don't understand the mentality. But
Sure you do. It becomes the love of the personality more than the knowledge. It's equivalent to our favorite astrophysicist saying, the sun is just a ball of hot burning mass. There's nothing in it. There's no way, if we come near it, we'll just burn up. Our favorite astrophysicist will tell us that. Our favorite writer will tell us no one will understand the pyramids. We'll never know that. Who built the pyramids? We'll never know. It's when you love the person, when you love the writer, when you love the person's work, you believe them more than your own thoughts. And if they say it's what's going to be, you believe it. And that's what I've learned is why we all walk into a stasis where we don't truly understand our own world or our own future, because everyone's believing in what somebody else told them instead of venturing out and learning other things or looking at different point of view.
And how has, Damon, how has the film changed you? There's the obvious things. You were one person when you started this. You're a different person now. But how has it changed you?
Well, it's just like what you said. I mean, I am truly a different person. And the one thing that I've learned is people like me the way I was better before. So most of the time I spend my time pretending to be who I was before to make everyone comfortable. So the one thing that I've learned in this world, and it's the greatest lesson I've ever learned, there's one thing in our world, believe it or not, that separates us more than race. It separates us more than our creed, our religions, or our belief. And you know what that is?
What's that?
Knowledge.
Bingo.
Knowledge, for some reason, for some reason, when you see somebody that has more knowledge than you or a deeper thought, you kind of move away from them. It's like, it's automatically, for people who are smart, it becomes territorial. For people who aren't smart, it becomes, you think you're better than me. So there's something that separates people more than anything else, and it's knowledge. You can literally be of the same race, but if you have more knowledge than someone else, they automatically feel threatened by you, and they don't feel at ease with you anymore. So that's a hard lesson to learn, because I don't consider myself to be this really brilliant guy. It's just the knowledge that people perceive makes them take you a completely different way.
Do you ever want to shake somebody? Just
all the
grab
time. All the time.
Just grab them by the throat.
All the time. All the time. Yes, I do.
And how do?
Yes, I do.
And that's a practice that we need to realize that you just can't shake somebody into sensibility. No matter what it is, you can't. How do you refrain from that? Right.
I know, but listen to this. Is what's so important. The same book that most people bow to, whether it's the Quran or whether it's Judaism or Christianity, all of them have the same words in it when it comes to knowledge and wisdom. All the gods say the exact same thing. Wisdom is worth more than silver and gold. And all you're getting in this world, get knowledge, get wisdom. It's worth more than everything in life. All gods say the same thing. And back in the ancient days, believe it or not, if you did not have wisdom, you were to be beaten and flogged until you learned. That's how important knowledge and wisdom was in the ancient world. Today, knowledge and wisdom, you're not beaten if you don't know it. It's all a personal choice. If you just want to do something fun, that's all you need to do. And nobody chastises you for it. Nobody makes you learn it. Nobody makes you understand it. And it's not a crime if you want to be an idiot. So because there's no stigma attached to not having knowledge or wisdom, you're faced in a world where you got to shake people. Listen, wise up. And that's where we are, because there's certain things that happen in our world that wouldn't happen if the majority of us would lean more towards knowledge, wisdom, and reason. Our world would be so much better. Because just think about it. Think about how many 20 years ago when they started talking about climate change. If we keep on this path, our world is going to be different. Earthquakes are going to be more prevalent. Floods are going to be more prevalent. You'll have not just one hurricane a season. You'll end up having 5, 6, or 10. All the things they were saying 20 years ago that no one would listen to, we're now seeing those things happening. We're living through it now. And imagine all the lives that would have been saved, all the lives that would have been better if somebody would have just listened and changed. And that's what's so sad. We think learning and knowledge is optional.
No, it's true. You're rewarded for being dumb today. I tell you.
Yes.
I
didn't want to say that, but yes.
You are. You know
right.
You know what you get a diploma. That's how crazy it is.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Our great centers of knowledge. Now, look, I have 2 daughters in college right now, and I love the fact that they are in college. I feel so good every day that they spend in college is a great. I just love it. I love it. Right. But the truth is, there is no preparation. There is nothing about life. There isn't anything about anything that has to do with reality. It is not taught. I can tell, and I'm not referring to my daughters. My daughters, they dig this show. They understand what ancient history and E.T. and craziness, and they appreciate all of that, and they look at the world with a different set of eyes. They get it, right? So they're there to learn and to go and acquire. But that's not what college is about. That's not what it's set up to be these days.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It's changed a lot from probably when you and I went to college. It's very different. It's not the same bastion of free thought, free understanding, and leaping to the next conclusion, understanding the conspiracy, seeing the unseen, and they don't teach that kind of thing anymore. They just really don't. And when I was coming up, I had teachers that talked like you. They were always teaching me to look beyond, see what you can't see. Don't stop learning. Understand that there are conspiracies. There's things that are stopping us, and just that kind of understanding, gave me the belief that I could look at other places that people haven't explored and possibly find something.
I tell you, this is what's really nuts, and it frustrates me. But when I hear things like somebody in college spending their parents' money, right, $100,000 or whatever, crazy, and they're going, the administration of the college says something like this: we need to create safe spaces for our students to go and feel safe. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with this picture? You graduate college and you are now expecting a safe space in life?
Exactly.
Right?
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
Wait, that ain't what life is about.
No, but remember, this is the generation that, when you compete in sport or any competition, the loser also gets a trophy just like the winner does.
Boo-hoo.
So
right.
It's different. It's just a different mindset. And I think in the end, it hurts us. It's going to hurt us in the future because they're our future generation. And to understand that the world is not based on that. The world is based on who works the hardest, who does things the best, who comes in number one. That really determines how successful your nation is. And I think that will hurt us in the end.
You guys came in third, but you actually won. No, they lost, and you've got to get better. You must practice, and then you will earn the trophy. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's truly nothing wrong
with that.
I mean, I grew up okay. I went through that. I never got a trophy. I was always second. And I was cool with that.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. But that's what makes you strive harder to do more. And this kind of idea that everyone should get this trophy that the winner gets is terrible. And let me tell you, they did a study about 2 years ago. And they studied all the G8 nations of college students. And it was a standardized test all over the world. Everybody took the same test. And it was in math, and I believe it was science. And the United States, being in the G8, out of the 8 nations, guess where we came in?
9th.
We came in number 8.
You're right.
We came in last place. Yeah, we were last behind all the other nations in math and science. But when they asked us, how smart do we think that we are in math, out of all the other nations, where do we come in?
Oh, I don't know. Don't tell me.
We came in number 1.
Really?
Number 1. The United States students believe we are number one in our.
Yes. Okay. I'm very smart in math. That's what we're saying. When they ask us about self-esteem, how do you feel about your knowledge of math and science? Oh, I'm good at math. That's where we came. We came in number one. We ranked higher than all the other nations in believing that our math and science skills were superior. But when we actually were tested, we came in last place. Yeah, I would have been more impressed. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why that is because we've been taught that, hey, everybody gets a trophy. And so if everybody gets what the number one guy in class gets, it leads everybody to believe that they're just as smart as that person. And that's why we came in number one in believing in our math skills, but we came in last place in actually performing math. So it's really weird. Really weird what we're doing to our country.
I would have been more impressed if they came back with, no, we came in 8th because we don't need math. We know, that. At least admit it. At least admit it.
That would have been pretty good, too.
I wanted to ask you, now that you have put out the feelers to the universe, and we are all cosmically connected. There's no question about that. Have you walked outside and looked up and something winked at you from the stars? Have you seen anything strange?
I've not seen anything strange. I feel things strange now.
How so?
I feel things. I don't know. Sometimes I feel it could be because, I'm always being surveilled 24 hours a day. Don't get me wrong. But I always feel that there's another presence watching me. There's another presence speaking. Sometimes when I'm asleep, I can literally hear things being said, wake up, there's no one here. But it's always something that's dealing with cosmos, space, unlocking. So sometimes I think that there is another dimension that I can hear. And I have to draw it all back to Egypt because none of this would have been me. This whole thing would not be me if it wasn't for Egypt. And just like when I left Egypt, I could understand all these hieroglyphics. Now I'm venturing into Voynich manuscripts and Nazca lines and things that I never could have even imagined unlocking. I mean, it's a whole nother world for me. And sometimes it's frightening because I don't know how it ends. I don't know where it goes. But the one thing that I do know is every time that I show up at a restaurant and I just want to grab something to eat, there's a car that pulls up right behind me with dark tinted windows and you can't see through it. Or if I want to go to the movies, there's another guy who comes in and sits right behind me. That kind of stuff just really irritates me. So if I had it to do all over again, I wish I would have never experienced all that stuff. Maybe I could have had a better life, but
oh no, it's all good. You're going downhill. But trust me, it's easier because you recognize. Right. But what you do need to do, and this is my take here, is you need to go out with us and with one of our groups and go out with night vision and just hang out and watch the skies. Because it is one of the most life-changing experiences that one can go through. You have an open mind. You're out there exploring this. But as far along as you think you are down that path, the first time you look up in the sky with night vision and you see something do a zigzag and blink at you and then run across the sky and change colors, and you pull the night vision down and you look and there's nothing there, you're like, wait a minute. And then you go back.
That's awesome.
It's a crazy thing. And you hear the whole...
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy some night vision goggles. That sounds great.
It's an amazing thing.
Great.
It's an amazing thing. And I see it happen over and over again where somebody sees something. Because it happened to me, Damon. The first time I put on night vision, I'm standing with a crowd of people, and I look up, and literally I see something that is a stationary star. It's a stationary star. It looks like a bright planet, and I can see it with my naked eye. And then you go up with the night vision, and then this thing moves from left to right and then disappears. Disappears.
Wow. Wow.
Right? It's like, wait a
I don't
minute.
know. That's high. That's high intensity there. I don't know about that one. That would freak me out.
It's an amazing thing to go through. It's an amazing thing, and I invite you to do it.
Let me ask you a question. If you found something out, just hear me, because this is the other alternative reality of when you see things and when you understand things. If you found out something that just understanding it gives you unbelievable power. I mean, the kind of power that if any world government had it, they would have the ability to rule this entire world for at least 10, 15,000 years. Literally dominate every nation on the earth, and they probably could subjugate it. What would you do with that knowledge?
I would speak about it. I would not hold it back. I would not hold it. I wouldn't.
Remember, the nation that has it can use it any way they want.
That's right.
Which means they could probably subjugate you.
That's right.
And your nation and your people.
Right. Right.
So that's the other side of learning things and seeing things.
Yeah, and you
so
can't.
What would you do?
I would absolutely speak about it. And if I've got to be the crazy guy, if I've got to be labeled the crazy guy, fine. But my morals, and I've repeated this too many times, silence and not speaking about it, which is the alternative, is doomsday. That's the wrong attitude. You can't. You have to do something about it, and you have to speak. I have had the choices in the past to not speak about certain things. And you know what? I don't care. I'm out of the closet. I will speak about it, and I will take it on the chin. But that's my view. I'm not everybody, but I would go public with it. I would. And I think we just lost Damon. Damon, are you there?
No, it's sinking in.
Whoa, man! I thought the powers came in.
No, you shut down the brain and it started thinking. I was not thinking of talking, just listening. You're getting through. It's sinking in.
Okay, stay right there. I've got to run credits and roll out the show, and so just stay right there. I'll do credits with you, and then I'll talk to you after the show offline. Stay right there. And we ran to the very, very end of the show tonight, Damon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Stay right there. Fade to Black. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Fady by Dale, Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Got to thank Damon T. Barry tonight. Everybody on Twitter. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. Until tomorrow night, Sharon Rose right here. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter. It's that simple. Say goodnight, Damon.
Good night. Thank you.
And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Go Beckley Tepe.